Hello and welcome to the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. This is episode 8 of the Aftermash. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My name is of course Mick. As always I am joined by Harvey and Paul. Say hi boys.
Hi boys.
Hello.
It's funny he's got.
I was on it.
Oh Christ. So here we go again with the show without a plan, the ship without a rudder. I believe we're going to kick it off. Well, actually, no, let me first say that this is, so basically we're doing an aftermash this week because we don't have MMA mash because there wasn't much in the way of MMA on this week. In fact, there was pretty much nothing. And I believe we're going to kick things off talking about some Formula 1 because we also don't have a Moto mash this week. So I think over to Harvey. Is that correct?
Right. Over to me. Just gonna hit it off with a wee bit of the Japanese Grand Prix, which was a disaster. If I would say so.
Aye, what the hell did I see with Gasly, by the way? Straight up for the start there. That looked fucking frightening. With the tractor.
Oh,
Ooh.
aye.
I'm sorry to bring the mood down straight away there,
Well,
lads.
No,
Fuck.
aye. That was just, aye. I mean, the tractor throttle shouldn't have been out there at that time, but you know, when it was red flagged, but until everybody was in the pits, but aye. I mean, Gasly was speeding and all in those conditions, so, which I think he got a penalty for that.
Aye, so this is what I didn't quite understand about this. So red flag happens and you've got to reduce your speed. Am I right in saying aye? Is that the kind of how it works?
Right. So, I mean, we're doing the full thing about a disservice, right? So, obviously,
Aye.
obviously, the race was massively delayed because of rain for a kick-off.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then they tried to go for it, and there was almost immediately a crash, right? So, Carlos
No,
Sainz,
it
right?
was. Aye,
First
Sainz.
Yep.
He did.
So he crashed it.
Him and Vettel touched.
Vettel also had a crash. His was first.
Aye.
Vettel was first.
And
Then
then
Sainz had the bigger one.
Sainz just went straight off.
Yeah,
Albon
complained off.
didn't get.
Albon had a bowler.
Yeah.
Gasly took out an ad board.
I noticed that he was
off the
piggybacking a bit
track.
of the ad board as well.
He'd off a billboard in the front of his motor. Couldn't see where he was going. he already couldn't see for the rain, and then all of a sudden he's got a massive.
It was a bit of the old Kevin
cardboard
Bridges with the microwave,
weather
wasn't it? I think you find I brought this with me. Cutting about with an ad board in the front of his motor.
So basically, the Carlos Sainz crash caused a safety car because they had to get the car off the track. It was sitting just on the edge of the racing line of the track. So then, because Gasly had his wee square goal with the ad board, he dived into the pits as everybody else kept going round, catching up the safety car. While he's in the pits getting his front wing fixed and whatever else, he also got a set of full wets because it was really wet. And they should have, that's something we need to circle back to, by the way, because they should have all started in full wets. But anyway, so he then comes back out and he's basically driving around the track as fast as he's allowed to go. So basically at that point, safety car conditions, but he's no part of the safety car train. He's not caught up with them. So all he has to do is stay under his lap delta, meaning there's a specific time for which, like a whole lap, and then that's broken down into sectors in the track. And then for each sector, he just needs to be slower than that. So there's no a specific top speed or anything.
Okay.
So he's been battering around the track as fast as he's allowed to go. Well, actually, not even, because I'm sure in an interview he said something like it was 7 seconds under his full lap delta at the time of the passing the doodad. But anyway, so he comes around, telehandler's on track, he shits his pants, and just as he's approaching that, it then goes red flag at that point. So then once under red flag conditions, then there is max speed. He then has to slow right down. But he's no seeing that until he's passing the thing. What he's then been penalised for is for no slowing down quick enough, because he was then supposedly speeding in the 2 turns after passing the crash site. So that's what he got penalised for, for going too fast, approaching the telehandler and the car on track.
Now that, to me,
Aye.
I mean, as a layman here I'm speaking, as a man who doesn't really know his motor racing, that to me would suggest that race control had heavily made a tad of an arse of this.
Absolutely.
No, in no way for me looking at that were those conditions in which you could safely drive. I mean, fuck knows how you're seeing 3 feet in front of you, never mind a full racetrack.
Aye.
And B, it's ridiculous. I mean, they turn on the red flag just as he's coming up to the tractor because, oh, shit, the tractor. And then they say, aye, but it's your fault. That's very poor.
Well, they didn't put the red flag up because of the tractor. Technically aye, but it wasn't because he was passing the tractor. They were red flagging it anyway. It just so happened that at that time he was going, and it was right before he got to that.
Kind of stars aligning
for the FIA, man. They're bloody
I mean,
useless.
to be honest, like like on the first lap, they should have been like, nah, this isn't mechanic racing. This, like, it's ridiculous.
No, it's
like as soon as they started going, like just wasn't safe.
See,
I know everybody wants to see racing and that, but
I was just going to say, right, so back on the tyres, for me, when a race has been delayed for the length of time that was like something like 3 or 4 hours, wasn't it?
Basically, aye.
The initial delay. A race really shouldn't have been delayed that long anyway. But when you're in that sort of severe situation, it should just be mandated that all cars have to start in full wets. And if it turns out that the tyres aren't holding up to it, fine. Like if the driving conditions are safe enough that you're confident you can drive in inters, then at that point make your pit stop and go for inters because they're a better tyre. But you should need to start on the full wets so that there's tangible proof that it's safe to drive out there before going to any tyre that isn't a full wet.
Well, aye, there's that at all. Baffles me though that F1 is like the leading, like it's a premier motorsport out there. You know what I mean?
It's like the standard of motorsport, the gold standard, mate.
Aye, the gold standard, innit? Aye,
yeah,
meant to be.
Like they allow shit like that to happen, like the race to even start. Like I know they put out they run the safety car and the medical car, aye, medical car around to disperse some of the water and until they get to a point where like, oh, the racers know. It's like, right, like that's no.
But their tyres are a lot smaller and thinner than what a race car's tyres are. Like they're not going to kick up nearly the amount of spray.
You ever seen what they do at some of the NASCAR races?
No, I've never seen that, mate. No.
Well,
they put a big jet thing on the back of a pickup truck.
No,
you drive around about and dry the track out.
That's actually
it's
quite
full
cool.
Hillbilly shit.
Aye,
but it's genius.
I didn't know that, by the way.
So this is one of the things that I was going to come to. I was like,
right,
for the F1 being the premier motorsport, right out there, why do they not have something in place that they can disperse water, like an actual piece of machinery that can dry up the track a bit? So it's safe and everybody gets to see racing. You know what I mean? As soon as it stopped raining for 15 minutes and you see everything's going to be, get this machine out there, fucking squeegee it away, whatever. Like, do you know what I mean? And we can get to see a good race, a safe race.
Above all else, aye.
At the same time. Do you know what I mean? Like, how have they not come up with it? Something.
If the FIA wanted to be a wee bit more professional looking than having a hillbilly come in with a pickup truck and a jet engine, right? What they could do is just go to the local council or establishment or whatever's running the place and get a street sweeper, because street sweepers, as well as having brushes for sweeping streets, also have doodads on the back for soaking up water.
Aye, big old squeegees,
I
man.
don't know the technical terms. So
a Rod Zamboni, that's what we need.
A squeegee thing and a hose.
Aye.
A couple of them. couple of laps around the track, like ideal, man.
So the Zamboni you get at the ice hockey, man, the big thing that comes out and cleans the ice. Something like that, man. Big road Zamboni. Can you even have a guy dressed up driving it? A mascot.
It would take what? Something like 20 minutes for it to do a lap.
Aye.
But like that's fine.
Well, you know.
Aye, it's better than
20
waiting 3 hours.
minutes. Exactly.
Better than waiting for 3 hours, the end of the race to get red flagged after
2 minutes.
not even 2 full laps. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just it makes so much sense to do it, but I just don't know. This baffles
The
me.
whole season's kind of went a bit wet
It's like-
farty though, hasn't it? Like, I mean, that the quality of race disappears at the
Aye.
weekend there, and Max wins over
Aye.
barely half of a race, basically, just over half of a race.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Now,
Oh, the
Aye.
backlash Sky Sports have been getting, by the way, after that.
have they really?
what?
Aye, on two fronts. So
How
for
come?
one thing, the full time during the race on the Sky Sports coverage, they kept going on about the whole brackets for the points. There's like 3 tiers depending on the race distance and stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like basically they had it that they were going off of the old rules as the crux of the issue, right?
Oh,
so
dear.
they thought that because they weren't going to they thought that they were either not going to quite make the 75% or they just over 75% of the race
Right.
distance. So they kept going on about like Max Verstappen, if he wins, will either get this amount of points or this amount of points. And then either option will not be enough to win him the championship. But it turns out that coming into this season, after Spa last year, the rules had been rewritten very slightly. And they now state that these tiered point systems only come into place if the race can't come to like a racing finish. I forget the wording, but basically like if the delay because of the red flag situation because of the rain prevents
And
them restarting the race,
Right, I
Aye.
see.
then they
Right.
go to whatever race distance and figure out the points based
Right.
on who was in front at the time. But if they can actually get to a racing finish, then it goes full points as long as
Aye.
they've done more than half of the thing or whatever it is.
I see.
But this is a new thing, and somehow Sky Sports didn't know about it.
Oh,
So folk are raging
shit.
that they've been told the full broadcast that Verstappen wasn't going to win the championship because he wasn't going to get enough points, and then they've announced at the end that he'd won. So that was the first thing. The other thing was post race. Some of the analysts were heavy digging into Gasly
Really?
for speeding when the telehandler was on track, and then for like overreacting to it and stuff like that.
Oh,
They went for him a wee bit, man. Aye.
which is weird because a lot
actually,
of
there's a lot of
the drivers seem to support him for what I'd seen. With the likes of Vettel
Aye,
and
the
all that.
drivers support them,
Aye.
but actually there's a lot of folk on social media too that are on the same side as as some of the pundits. I've seen a lot of
That's
folk
disappointing.
saying, "Oh, like it shouldn't be like he was overreacting and he shouldn't have been speeding this and that." Blah
Is
blah
this
blah.
not the
And
boy
I
who
was
lost
like,
his
"Oh,
friend
whatever."
through a race death?
That's the thing that's the disconnect
fuck's
for me.
sake, man.
People aren't taking into account the fact that he was close personal friends with Jules. Was it Jules?
Jules Bianchi,
Twins?
wasn't
Twins or friends?
it?
What?
Friend.
It sounded you said twins.
Oh, I don't know.
He's dug you right in the
I don't
middle of a
usually
sentence,
report ours,
there,
but I've maybe turned into Jonathan Ross halfway through that.
man.
Oh,
But aye, so he was close personal friends with the lad that died in a very
Yeah.
similar incident.
Aye, Jules
Bianchi,
Bianchi,
aye.
aye.
Jules Bianchi.
Aye.
Aye, he was. It was a child friend or
Aye,
something.
good.
And then Bianchi is, or well, was, but Charles Leclerc's godfather and all.
Aye, good.
His godfather.
Mm-hmm. Aye,
That's weird
aye.
because there's not that much between them in age, is there?
Aye, I was going to say there.
Oh, shut up. I don't know.
Well, surely he would only be like a couple of years older than Charles.
Aye.
No, he.
He was 20.
What age is Charles?
He was
Leclerc?
25.
He's early 20s.
Aye, so Jules would
And
be a
that was
bit.
8 years
Jules
ago or
would be a bit
something.
older than him. Aye. Jules.
Aye, but a wee bit older, but like he would still be a boy when he was made the Godfather. Strange, man.
I mean, I think it was on the BBC. I seen it.
Aye.
That it was his Godfather. So
Apparently their dads were best friends as well. Leclerc's elder brother and Bianchi. By the way, it does say Jules Bianchi and godson Charles Leclerc relationship.
yeah,
Aye, I mean, it does say that, and that is from the sportsgrill.com. So it is. There was actually obviously that was a thing. I didn't know that, I'm not going to lie. I didn't know that. That is.
I didn't know until I seen the hang on.
Aye, that is.
I think it was BBC. But aye.
That is news to me.
But it was just a disappointment, to be honest.
Definitely was.
I mean, it was just George Russell was not happy during that race either.
I thought he didn't come off very well in this race. I thought he was a bit petulant looking. Compass some of his radio messages and that.
Because when everybody was coming into pit to put back on the intermediates, right? They double stacked them. So Hamilton came in and then he came in and he was arguing saying that they shouldn't have done that because that he then lost like 9 places or something then.
Aye.
He was saying that if he had stayed out, come in the next lap, then like he would have been he's saying that he could have finished P5 or whatever.
It's a fair cheat though, is it no?
I mean,
after all the times like with safety car stops and pit stops in general that he's got the up on Hamilton this season, and he spits the dummy like that because it doesn't go his way.
Because but it's just, to be honest, it's just most of the time it's because of the position that they're in. And when they get caught in, it's just like the luck. Do you know what I mean?
It's happenstance most of the time.
Aye, do you know what I mean? So, but he's fucking raging now because he's on the other end.
I think he's going to take that one in the chin for me, man.
Oh, see, so he's demanded sit-down talks with Mercedes, by the way, after that.
Aye,
so he is.
I was just
he's wanting to shoot somebody about
after it. After it, he was saying that they're going to have a meeting and this and that.
He needs to wise it up, man. He needs to get some growing up today, man, after that, I reckon.
There's been a lot of that this year, though, where drivers tune out their team principles on the radio.
Aye.
Like, it's been
I know that they're all ultra competitive, right? And there has to be some sort of margin for error when it comes to getting a bit hot-headed under race conditions and stuff. But there has to come a time when you're the young, new guy in the team, you know what I mean? And you've had so many sort of opportunities over not just the number one guy in the team, but you know what I mean, like the number one guy for the last however many years. And you've been getting the jump on him and you've been, you know, getting the luck of the draw when it comes to pit stops and all the rest of it. Like, have a bit of humility, man.
Definitely has a lot of frustration with the boy anyway. Like, I mean, can I say where he's coming from? He's lost 8 places, did he know? Basically.
I like 9 places. Right, I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, he just needs to remember that he's been on the other side where he's had the luck. Do you know what I mean? Exactly. It's not like
it's no Ferrari.
They purpose. It's not. Well,
they'll shoot themselves in the foot every week.
It's not like they purposefully held him up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or told him to let Hamilton pass or something like. Do you know what I mean? That he might not agree with. Like something like that is. You don't need to go off like that. Yeah, you can be on the radio and say, "Come on, guys, that was stupid." Like, you know, we've lost places now, so we're not going to get as many points. We should have realised that we would have been too close together, you know, etc., whatever. But he's just, he went off.
He most definitely did.
So he did. Mick Schumacher, but like Haas Haas had him out in the wets for like ages, man. I don't know what.
Had a bit of a weird weekend, didn't he? He was leading the Grand Prix at one time.
And then
For a few seconds.
Aye, he was up there. Then everybody seemed to just roll by him with ease.
Aye, because he was still in the wets and everybody intermediates.
Driving about in tank trial,
wets-
tank tires. Can't even say it right.
The
Tank
wets were
trials.
losing. And they're just like, just stay out. Like, what are you talking about, man? Get him in, get the intermediates on.
We're hoping for a safety car.
Hoping for
It's like-
aye.
Mick would have been as well been like, aye, very good. Like, but the safety car's it was going to be because I've
Aye,
crashed.
because
Fucking hell.
Get me off these bloody tires.
I've crashed or I had a blowout or something. Like, you know, it's like,
Strategical
come on.
genius is our Gunter. Strategical genius.
They too often now just go to the old adage of let's roll the dice, let's do something different and hope for the best.
Fuck it, let's see what happens. Aye.
Aye.
The fuck it cared.
And I think this is.
You can applaud that now and again when nothing else is working for you, but that can't be your strategy
Aye.
every week.
No, exactly. I mean, especially when you're sitting there talking, when Gunter Steiner's saying he's not sure about Mick Schumacher because he needs to show a bit more consistency in this and that. How's he got to be more consistent when you're doing stupid shit like that?
Well,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
he's consistently
he's not
up
going to be
against it.
consistent. Aye. So, I mean, it's which I don't know. So he might not get back to Haas, but I don't know if you've seen any of the comments from. Oh my God, what's his name? Williams.
What? Latifi?
No, the
Principal.
aye.
The guy that came out for rally.
Oh, that guy.
French or something, you know?
That guy with the patter, aye. He's got a good patter. What is his name?
Mm-hmm.
I felt a man's balls, didn't he? That was his thing in Drive to Survive. I grabbed his balls.
When they were
That was
asked.
his patter.
They were asked about Mick Schumacher and he was like, aye, like smiling like,
Of course.
okay.
Because De Vries is...
Jos Capito.
Aye. Because Nick De Vries is going to... Right.
So he's there smiling like, you know, if he's, you know, they asked like if he is an option for them, and he was like,
Right.
well, you know, we'll see what happens. It's definitely an option for us. That's with a big old fucking grin on his face, like, aye.
As if I already spoke to him. It's
I'm
happening.
on this. Aye. I'm on this.
He's like, he's talking about like, you know, this is his second year in, and you really need to have that third year. Like the first 2 years, you kind of learn about the Formula One cars when you come up for F2 because it's so different, you know. But you know, you really need that third year, and he has the potential to really move forward and be a very good driver in F1, and he's sitting this man. So it's like,
Interesting.
like.
I mean, it's
let's see.
it's a sidestep move, certainly going to Williams for Haas, really, isn't it? Like, is it a step down?
I think
even?
it's a clearer route for him
Do you think so? Right.
to
Aye.
climb up the ladder.
Right. So
I think it has.
is that down to
unless he's got a
Williams'
strong
historical
relationship
name?
with.
Is that the historical thing with Williams? Because they used to be of a higher profile. Like it's better
think
doing well
might
with
play a
Williams
part.
cause of that. Aye, because they used to be the real deal. Because obviously that worked for Russell, didn't it? Like he did well at Williams, and now he's a bloody Mercedes driver.
But then there's the relationship there with Mercedes.
Ah,
I was
right,
gonna say,
right,
aye.
okay. So there's a working relationship. That I didn't know.
Aye. Yep. So Russell effectively was a. I don't know if he was. I don't. Was he on a development contract with Mercedes, Russell? I don't know if he actually was.
I don't think he was.
But
couldn't
he
tell you.
had an in
And he
anyway.
was-
You know what I mean?
No, he was a Mercedes
Was
driver.
he an academy driver?
Sure, he was. Aye, aye.
There's every
I didn't
chance
know
he
that
was,
Nick De Vries is actually a Mercedes driver, I know.
Right, so
Yep. Aye, he came
And-
through their crew.
I know he's away.
And now he's
jumped.
gone to AlphaTauri.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not official yet, but like,
Aye.
it's-
Can't wait to drive to
like
survive next year.
everybody knows.
Fire's going to be a
I'm
lot,
off.
man.
Horner's going to be
gonna
giving
be a
the milk,
lot of ground to
lemonade, and
cover.
chocolate to Toto Wolff walking by him.
Aye.
Point.
Toto's,
Milk,
I
milk.
don't think Toto will be happy,
Milk,
but
lemonade, chocolate.
I mean, going to
Yeah, I think-
AlphaTauri is going to give him a better opportunity.
But the sounds of things, there's no plan for Mercedes to change their lineup for a few years.
No, they're quite
Not
happy with that, I
exactly.
think, aren't they?
So,
So they,
I don't think he'll be too caught up about it. It would be more a case of just being miffed that he's turned his back on him rather than thinking that he's lost out on somebody that he might want to lean on over the next couple of years. I mean, if nothing else, what he might have been is a stand-in driver for them. You know, like if there's an illness or something at Mercedes, he might have been the guy that got the call up to fill in.
reserve.
Reserve, that's the
Interesting
word.
indeed. Question though.
Aye.
Question. Le Dream Team next year at Alpine. What do you think of that?
Ocon and
The best,
Gasly,
the best buddies, the best friends forever team.
who don't fucking like each
Aye.
other.
How does that go?
I don't know, man.
That should be fun.
I don't know. Should be.
I think it'll be a good laugh. I think they'll be all right.
I mean, there's
Well,
talented enough drivers as far as I can tell. They're fairly talented boys, I would say. Would that?
They're tier 2.
I think it might go the way of like Lando Norris and Daniel Ricciardo, where like now and again it's as if somebody's feelings are getting hurt, but for the most part they just have good banter.
Aye.
I don't think so, because they genuinely don't like each other.
Oh, the cropping one and another out of photos thing was hilarious, man. I couldn't stop laughing at that. That was some Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively energy there, wasn't it? But no quite as jokey.
So like, I don't know how much banter they're going to have.
Christ.
I think they'll be all right.
Oh, by the way,
Aye.
you know what we did today?
What's that?
We did congratulate Max Verstappen on winning.
Oh, fuck, I mean, he did win.
the
He won. Well done,
When did he
Max.
second championship?
2 in a row. Well done.
For now.
Oh, man.
Well, hi. Oh, no. We'll see. We'll see.
Is he keeping that?
But he had to be convinced that he actually won. He did, because they were like, "Oh, you won the championship!" Right? He's like, "No."
Oh, that was
Even-
Brundle.
even
Even,
a couple of-
Even a couple of the teams, including Red Bull, weren't aware of the change to the rules.
Well, it wasn't even because of that. It's because he didn't know that Leclerc had got the penalty, the 5-second penalty.
Right,
So that dropped him back.
Third, of course.
So he didn't. So he was like, "Nah," because Charles, and he's like, "Well, like, no." Like, he got a penalty. He's like, "Nah." He's like, "Aye." And then
Yeah.
he's like, "Am I?" He's like, "Oh, fuck it, yes, woo."
Christ's sake, man.
So, oh, mate. But some of the teams didn't know the thing either, as you're saying there, Mick.
Fucking wow.
I don't know why they didn't know. Like, surely it's each, like, you should know the rules.
I mean, there should be at least one person in every team whose job it is to know the rules inside it.
You would think. You would think.
When,
So at least you
when
could
they so
ask a
often have such an
professional-
impact on results.
Aye, like a professional organisation in charge of the world's premier motorsport competition. Quite incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And Michael, you're saying, but for now, obviously, the FIA have said that they found Red Bull guilty of.
So
breaking Formula
we're
1's budget
recording
cap.
on Monday the 10th. Let's put that out there. We're recording on Monday the 10th, so
Aye.
just today has been announced.
Aye, today it's been announced. But however, Red Bull said they're going to look at it carefully, challenge it, because what they've put in was actually under the budget. So who the fuck knows what's going on.
Aye, who's right there?
Obviously, you're going to say that, like, that's the first thing you're going to say.
Red Bull aren't
like,
going to come out and admit it point blank, are they?
No.
Exactly.
No,
They're never straightforward with this kind of thing.
No. I mean,
absolutely not.
aye. No big company is going to come out and be like, we did it. Unless, the only day unless they come to some agreement, like, we'll say we did it as long as we only get this.
Mhm.
Like, fine as this, or take this way or whatever. So they were found guilty of a minor breach of the budget cap. So that means they exceeded
Plus-
the cap by
plus a
less. A procedural breach, right? So the procedural
Spent
breach
too much
is,
and a procedural breach.
aye, so procedural breach is like no filling out a form properly. Who was it? Williams got done for that earlier in the
Oh,
year.
really? Right.
Aye, and then Aston
Aye.
Martin, it came out the day it's Red
Aston
Bull and Aston Martin they've been put up for that. Plus Red Bull
Aye,
have overspent.
procedural. Aye, by 5%. Well, sorry, the minor offence. So that's the minor breach. So that's less than 5%. So it's like $7.25 million.
Is that
So-
confirmed though? Because
less.
when they initially announced it, they didn't have an actual figure. Or is that just what
I know they
5% of the cap is? The 7 point.
That's what 5% of the
Right.
cap is. Aye.
Right.
So that it's less than $7.25 million. So whatever. And aye. So like the penalties for that is like simple reprimand, deduction of points in the drivers or constructors championship or both for the season in question.
Right.
Yep.
And then a suspension from a race, but or a couple of races. Limitations to like aerodynamic testing and other testing, and then the other one is a further reduction of the team's cost cap. So like, what is it next year? I think they're going down to 130 million or something.
I'm not sure what
So-
it was, but
They could say, right, Red Bull, you only allowed 120 million, or whatever. So we'll see.
Aye. Aye.
see, for me, it's got to be something pretty strong. Because like regardless of how much they've overspent, they've broke the rules. And so to stop the big teams continuing to do it in the
Aye,
future,
to
it
do it.
needs to be a heavy punishment. So they need to hit them with either a points reduction or something like aerodynamics, something that will properly hurt them. I think just to like fine them or reduce their budget next year doesn't have the impact that some of the other kind of
No.
Right to tell you, but I think it'll probably just be a wee fine and a wee don't you do that again.
aye.
Aye, that's all that's coming.
It's got a little bit of slap in the wrist.
But-
There'll be absolute uproar. Because the thing is, or do you know what they might do? Is they might take constructors' points off them,
Which they didn't win anyway.
which they didn't win. So
Aye.
ultimately, it does nothing
Aye.
to them,
Basically.
which would be
Superficial.
messed up.
That's what I
That
was
would be
thinking.
severely messed up if they did
Aye.
that.
Superficial shit.
I thought that's the first thing that I thought they were. I was like, they'll take constructors and they'll fine them. That was my first thing. My first reaction was they'll take constructors' points off them and they'll fine them, and that'll be it. But as you said, Michael, for me as well, I think they should come down heavy on them as a warning to everybody else.
Yep.
Like, if you go over, this will happen to you. Like, they need to set a standard. Obviously, I don't think it's set in stone yet because, as I say, I think Red Bull are
Are they?
going to
They're
appeal
saying
it.
they're going to fight it. Aye, so it's going to drag
Aye,
out.
they said they're
I'm
going to
sure they
appeal it
will. Like,
because they say, like, we are under the cap, whatever. So, I mean, aye, that will go to court. But if it does come out that they are guilty, right, after the appeals and all that, if it holds up that they're guilty, then I think it needs to be something heavy. What it is, I don't know. Maybe, like, because they have the ability for next season, like, they can suspend them from a couple of races. So like, all right, for the first 3 races or right in the middle of the season, like 3 races, racing, plus you're getting this fine, and doing this amount of testing. Like, boom, there you go. It's like, fuck.
Yeah.
3 races, like, shit. Plus,
I'm kind of torn with it, because on the one hand, I feel like it should be something that directly affects the season in which the rule break came for. But then, really, because they didn't win the constructors, all they can really do is take points off of Max and effectively take the title off him. Anything else, like, it doesn't do anything to them long term. So then you have to look at something going forward so that hurt them going into next season. Well, that's aerodynamics or reducing their overall budget, which I don't think that will have a big enough effect, or like you say, like banning them for racing at X amount of races or whatever. But I think the shittest thing about this is that it's no in black and white what the punishments are. So it's like they're going to have to, the board or the whatever it is that oversees this stuff, the financials and that, I forget what they're cried, but they have to get together and decide what the punishment's going to be. And then obviously like Red Bull's going to then appeal it and stuff. But like they shouldn't need to convene. Like their convening should be, are they guilty? Yes, cool. This is what their punishment is because it's written down in the rules. Because no matter what option they go with, it's gonna no sit right with some set of folk, because there's swaying what they can do, and that in itself is just messed up, man.
It's one of the things. It's a lot of it, and like F1 especially, like no everything's like in black and white. You know what I mean? It's not always. It's either this or this. Or it's, you know, if this happens, then that's that. It's all like kind of open to interpretations, and
the irony is that rules not being clear enough and been open to interpretation. It's what led to the shit show at the end of that season with the world title. And now it's all going to come back full circle because the financial cap stuff's open to interpretation. They're going to get a punishment that many fans only going to see as being a punishment that's fit for the crime, as it were. Like it's just it's mental that like we're back in this similar situation.
Messed up, man. It's just like one thing after the other. Like, you know what I mean?
That FIA is not having a good time, man.
If no,
not really, no.
It's
do you know the maddest thing coming out of Suzuka that I thought was so obviously there's often issues with rain at Suzuka because this time of year is basically typhoon season for that part of the world, so they get a lot of rain, but apparently there's been conversations between the organisers of that GP and members of the FIA and that, talking about moving it to earlier in the year, and the organisers don't want to, because they don't want to interfere with like cherry blossom season or anything else. Like that's when they want the race. They don't give a fuck about the weather. That's when it suits them to have the race, so that's what they want to do.
Well, I mean,
wild, man.
Kudos for them.
Like the FIA surely has to step in and be like, well, it doesn't work because the races are shite. we can't be doing this. So do you want it earlier in the year, or do you just not want it?
It is something I always remember about the Japanese Grand Prix, is that it is always monsoon season, effectively, like some out of bloody Jumanji at the end of Jumanji. Like it is just water everywhere all the time when it's the Japanese Grand Prix. Like that's just a given for me. Like as a punter, like a mug punter that doesn't really follow the racing too much. Even I know that Japanese Grand Prix means wet. Like it's a certainty.
It's like there's Spa and Suzuka, and then there's another one where it's like every second year's a washout, literally.
Aye, it's totally done. Aye. Just pure wet weather.
Obviously Singapore this year went tits up.
Oh Christ, aye. I mean, again, it's a hot, humid Asian country. Like, it's not really a great surprise that you get crazy wet weather there, like Singapore, Japan.
At certain times of the year.
Aye.
Mhm.
No, who knows what they do moving forward, man. Aye. If the race organisers don't want to move it, then the FIA need to just either say, well, this is not for us.
Aye, aye. This ain't working for me.
That's it. But I mean, folks still tune into it, so it's like, will the FIA even do it? Like, no, because they're still making money. Like, folk are still going to the race, buying tickets. Everybody's watching on the telly. They're not losing anything. So there's like, will they actually change it? Probably not. There's no incentive for
yeah, it's a race with a lot of history behind it as well.
I think.
How long have they been in Japan, man?
Good question.
I can remember the F1
good
game on the
30,
PS1
years.
and the Japanese Grand Prix was in it.
I want
And
to
that's
say
the
it
90s.
was like late 70s. I think.
Aye, so there you go.
Maybe early 80s. Because I think the track was built around early 70s. No, in fact, no, it was earlier than that actually. That's
Oh,
bullshit.
right.
60s.
It was early. If it was 50s or 60s, the track was built. It was,
Sweet Jesus, there you
60s.
go.
It was there for a good wee bit before they started getting the Formula One.
Doing the F1. Fuck aye.
Because it was your guy that started Honda.
Oh, was it?
That had it built. He wanted a racetrack to test his cars at.
I see.
I think
Aye, so the track was built in 63.
right.
The first Formula One was 1976.
Oh, Christ, it's been gone
I wasn't
forever,
far
man, aye. And of course, it would have been a glamorous edition back in the day, like going to Japan,
Oh,
like.
no, that's a lie. No.
Oh, fuck.
1976 and 1977, it was at the Fuji Speedway.
Oh, right.
And then and that was only 2 years that it was in Japan. 1987 was when it went to Suzuka.
Oh, right. So they've had a couple of cracks at Japan, as it were, back in the day to try kind of include it. Because I imagine it would have been a glamorous addition at the time, like, because a lot of the races would have been, it would have been Europe basically back then, like, so something kind of cool and exotic like Japan back in the day would have been, ooh, we're going to Japan. Like the way they are now with a lot of these kind of Gulf states that they go to, like, it's where it's kind of, it's the new and cool thing because there'll be money behind it.
Yep. I think the Vegas GP is going to have, potentially at least, going to have a knock-on effect to the future of the sport. I think FIA's decisions when it comes to where to host GPs is going to be influenced by that race. If that goes to plan and they make a fortune off of that, as they probably will, I think they're going to look at things different.
You're going to see a lot more of these street circuit races. I think that's the big sort of takeaway for me, is how many of these street circuits are now all the rage.
I think London will be back on the table.
Aye,
because
I would imagine
for a long time.
Well, that's they always kind of tease this kind of image of them shooting by Buckingham Palace in their F1 cars, don't they? Like, good run about all the landmarks and all that. And aye, that's well and good, but racing on a racetrack for me, lads. Like,
oh, 9 times out of 10, I would choose.
Maybe I'm a boring old
racetrack.
bastard there. Aye, maybe we're all boring old bastards. Like, maybe we're not doing the cool thinking, but for me, racing on a racetrack any day, like, it's custom built for these fucking cars, and you've more chance of a proper race. Like, I mean, the biggest thing that I remember for Jeddah this year, the Saudi GP, was how long it took them to get a bloody car off the track, because these are converted bloody streets. Like, it takes them forever to get into these barriers, whereas a racetrack's in the middle of a big bugger field somewhere. So if the car goes off, it's going off a good fucking while. Like, there's much less chance of it becoming a serious incident in that sort of sense. Like, so they don't need to stop the cars basically to a crawl.
Yeah.
Which ruins the spectacle for fans, whether they're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm jamming that I'm on a street and there's a race here, or not. Like, just my thoughts, lads. I've run out of steam there, but I think I made my point.
Can I make a suggestion here?
Aye.
Should we move on to another sport before this just turns into a moto mash?
I was gonna say this is the best moto mash ever, by the way. Hidden in something that wasn't meant to be. 50 minutes. Well, no fun much to talk about this F1 this week.
I've got a footballing confession to make.
Oh, right, go for it.
Aye. You watched the football?
You watched it.
I have watched 3 Man City games in a row.
Holy shit, man!
Holy fuck!
You enjoying that there, aye?
Purely because of Haaland.
Aye,
Because I'm taking in the history that's being made.
Aye.
You're just soaking it in.
And guess what, Mick?
What?
Guess who's been drawn in the same group
I've
as
seen
Haaland for the
Oh,
Euro
God.
2024?
Oh, my
It's went
heart
just about as
sunk.
bad as it could have.
My heart bloody sunk.
See, be fair, right? I'm looking at Cyprus. We can beat them. Georgia, we can beat them. Norway, I was like, motherfuck. I was like, oh.
Aye.
It's like Haaland's going to tear fucking Hanley up at
Aye, and have you not seen the bloody
defence
Jordan
is
boy that plays up front for
transfer.
Napoli, by the way? They're calling him the Jordan Messi, this boy that plays for Napoli.
Jesus.
Kvaratskhelia, I think you pronounce it as. Kvaratskhelia. What a fucking play. He plays with Napoli. He plays in the kind of in the hole, as it were, like for Napoli, in the kind of 10. He's fucking incredible, by the way. What a player he is. I'm got it. I'm greeting.
Well, I mean, see, to be honest, Spain,
good luck for
I
that.
don't even fucking rate Spain right now,
Oh,
man.
but they're better than us.
They're not. Well, aye. But
I think one thing I'll say, right, and obviously I'm no the sort of biggest kind of brain here when it comes to the football, but for me it's a very open group, so it could go a number of ways. I feel.
Jesus.
Because the top teams on paper should, based on qualifying pots and everything else, the top 2 teams should be us and Spain.
Hopefully.
But we're probably going to struggle with Norway. They're going to, like, Haaland is going to give us fits, guaranteed.
Oh.
As good as we might be up front, like if we're on form, he's going to score goals for fun against our bloody defence. There's nothing we're going to be able to do with him.
Aye.
All Norway have to do is get the ball to him.
Aye. Well, that is what they basically do.
Mate,
Give the ball to Haaland.
Aye.
Just put it over the top.
And then just fire, just
run on
get
that.
to the halfway line, boot it into the box, let Haaland do the rest.
And even if you sit deep, he's built like a fucking bear. He'll just roll a defender easily. Like,
Aye. And he's fast as anything, man.
aye. And not just fast, he accelerates fast. He accelerates like
it's
a winger.
acceleration that gets you. Aye.
Oh, it's desperately
He's-
unfortunate.
But that aside, we've then got a seriously on form. It would seem Georgia. They seem to be on a serious upswing.
Aye.
And
aye,
then
big time.
Cyprus is the game that we should win, which means we'll probably no in it. Going to be Scottish form, so
Aye.
it's going to be a bastard.
It's going to be all right. I'll see you next Tuesday. Aye. My God. Aye, that's the guy I'm talking about. Vicha Kvaratskhelia, his name is. Plays with Napoli. I'm no joking. The boy is I mean, and that's the thing. Nobody's even talking about him on Georgia because of the Haaland effect, but fucking hell, that boy is a player. Like, it just makes me glad we did as well in that Nations League. See, this is when folks say, oh, well, what's the point of the Nations League? That is the very point of the Nations League. Like, this is why we needed to win that wee group.
Aye, because technically we have 3 shots at getting to the Euros. So we can finish in the top 2 of our group and go through. Or if we finish 3rd in our group and we're one of the best placed third finish.
do they? Right, okay.
Aye. Then
Is that a playoff or is it just like the top two teams or whatever for the number
Top two
three
teams
position?
automatically through.
oh no, that's a lie.
I know,
That's
you're
a
thinking
lie.
of the
It's
previous.
the Nations League.
You're thinking of the
Take me
previous
all way.
qualification standard, aye.
Aye. So it's two. Sorry. So, aye, we're the two. That's why the fucking Nations League is there.
Aye,
isn't
well,
it?
aye.
So aye.
You tell Mick that.
So, aye, I know. Just last week. So aye, top two, and then we go into
Aye.
the playoffs. We're in the playoffs first. So
Right. So we have a backup plan.
Aye, there's a plan.
Aye.
There's a plan. I would love us to finish
I mean-
second in that group. I would love it.
aye, Steve Clark thinks that we'll get through. So,
Aye. I mean,
Aye.
Norway is much. They do have Erling Haaland, but they are not unbeatable. Like they're no bulletproof
No,
because
no.
they have Erling Haaland. But it's a serious problem. I would have much rather have fucking Armenia. Christ,
Aye.
like
I think we need to
you know,
hope that the other teams in the group like sort of focus in on Haaland and Norway being the biggest hurdle.
aye.
And if they put all their energy into their games against Norway, maybe we can catch a couple of them sleeping, and that's just enough for us to get second potentially.
I'm looking at their previous
the last-
form right now.
Aye,
Actually,
they get beat by Slovenia, get beat by Serbia.
I mean,
beat
teams
Sweden.
that we've beaten.
Slovenia. Aye, they drew with Slovenia.
Hello.
Slovenia were down to 10 men.
Exactly.
Like,
They also beat Armenia 9-0. Fucking hell.
aye. I mean,
Haaland was definitely
Aye,
playing that game, wasn't he?
I mean, I don't mean to be cynical, but I
No.
genuinely hope Haaland picks up a knock when it's international week. I really do. No harm to the boy. And by the way, he's basically Superman, so there's no chance he's injured. When has the boy ever been injured? Hasn't he? He just doesn't get injured. But I kind of hope there's a wee niggling. He's feeling the old thigh after a big sprint in the Etihad and the Saturday. Like, fuck, I'm not feeling right. Like, I'm all right with that. Like, I can live with that in my conscience for thinking that that's the thing I want to see.
I think
I don't want to see the boy with his leg broken. Absolutely not. No chance.
Clark's just going to have to nominate somebody to go for the professional foul, I think.
Let him know he's in a game, son. The old junior football partner. Let him know he's in a game, son.
he's actually had a few injuries.
Is he? I wouldn't have thought so.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it's a lot less likely he gets injured in such a winning team like Man City, though. Like,
In January
Especially the way
this
he's
year, he
been
was
played
out
there.
I mean, they're pretty much
He's doing a lot of
unbeatable.
off days and whatnot, man. He comes out and scores a wee of goals in the first half, and then they just bring him off and rest him.
It's quite fucking right, by the way. Why should they waste him, like, on 90 minutes? Like, just get him off, protect him. Once he's done the damage, like...
Mm-hmm. He seems to have something with his knee. So 2019, he was out with something with his knee for 11 days. Then
11 days.
2022,
11, well, thank fuck, 11 days.
20.
Let's hope the 11 days are during the
20.
group stages.
I know, that's what I mean.
20.
A wee niggle. A wee niggle.
May. In May, he was out for another 11 days with his knee.
Right.
Aye.
I'm just doing the knees here. The knee for another 4 days. Another 4 days. Muscular problems for 42.
Oh, there you go. Huh?
35 days
that's a month.
for hip flexor. Muscle problem. 18 muscle problem. Muscle problem. 28. He's had a few.
Aye, well, I mean, what the problem is, or well, the good thing really for the world of football is that he's not a very serious injury in his young
Aye, no
career.
serious injuries.
And that's the thing you've got to remember as well. He's only just becoming a fucking full-grown adult. Like, he would have still been a growing boy a year and a half ago. And he was Superman. So what the fuck is he now? Like, it's...
I don't know, man.
Oh, aye.
If the boy can stay fit the way
Crazy.
Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo have stayed fit their full careers, then he could probably eclipse their numbers. Like,
Aye, probably.
and not just that, mate. Like, think about it. There's a World Cup
He will.
in the middle of the season where a lot of English, Spanish, Italian. Well, no, in fact, no Italian. Fuck off, Paul. Brazilian. Like all these kind of big countries have all got their players knocking their pan in the bloody Arabic sun for a month straight, knackered, while this boy chills out and puts his feet up in Norway, just taking it easy for a month, recuperating any wee knocks that he may have. Like, it's like the equivalent of he's going to have a full half season where he's against tired defences who are really mentally knackered. Like, at the very top level, you know what I mean? Like, the top, the elite level of football is all going to have a wee bit of lull going into January to July, whereas he's going to be well rested and ready to absolutely tear new arseholes in every football stadium across the continent, effectively. You're looking at a person who's going to have a 50-goal season, I think. I'm calling it now.
Aye.
He's certainly started out strong, isn't he? Jesus Christ, man.
Jesus, man. Aye.
Definitely.
I read a stat that somebody had sat down and compared, well, not so much compared, but they sat down and looked at Ronaldo's numbers, and they've figured that for him to eclipse Ronaldo's total club goal record, which is now 700 goals.
That's right. Aye.
He'll need to average 30 something. I can't remember the exact number, but it's 30 something goals a season for the next 16 or 17 years.
That is quite a lot of years, though, when you think about it.
Aye, but the thing is, like, if he has a couple of year run where he's hitting in and about the 50 goals a season, like crazy seasons, and then he's a couple of off seasons here or there where he's only scoring kind of 20 to 30, that average will be there.
Aye, like he'll come close.
Aye, the average will be there.
I mean, look at Messi with the crazy couple of years he had, like, where he was, I think there was a calendar year he scored like 80 goals, basically. Like, from one season into the next. Like, it's fucking wild.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild.
It was like a point in time where he realised he didn't need to just be a playmaker. He could just score some goals too if he wanted. It just went mental.
I have got it all, basically. Like, it's wild, man. I'm looking at the current, like, total goals scored, like the most ever. Ronaldo, 813, not just league goals you're talking, 813 altogether.
Aye. All competition.
Like club and international goals. Messi 764. Like, to me, it's wild, man. Absolutely wild.
That's mental.
The amount of goals. I was actually, I looked at this on Wikipedia half expecting to see Erling Haaland already enter it, but then again, he'll not be far away from entering it very soon, I wouldn't think. His time will come.
Give him a couple of years and he'll be top 3 in like every metric.
Yeah,
he'll be a couple of years, and then it will just be counting down the days until he catches Messi, and then counting down the days till he catches Ronaldo.
Christ.
Somebody was saying that Haaland and Mbappe were going to be the next Messi, Ronaldo, argument, like who's better? And I was like, not a fucking chance.
I don't think it's
Haaland. All day
I don't
long.
think it's not a debate, mate. I don't think
no
until Mbappe leaves Paris and goes to an actual league, which is not, and let's be honest, a fucking farmers league. Like, you've got like he can't be in that discussion. Like, he does not get to be in it. Like, well done to the boy. He's making a fortune, and apparently he's practically running that team, PSG. But
he
does. On the other side, though, Mbappe's a World Cup winner, which in history terms, like 20 years from now, that's a big thing. And he was a big part of them winning that World Cup as well, though, lads.
Look at the team he had.
Oh, I mean,
Put Haaland in that team. Put Haaland in that team. Would they have won the World Cup?
Oh, Christ, aye. He had the supporting cast.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Again, but the arguments could be labelled at Messi and at Ronaldo, though, for how well they did in teams they played. I mean, Messi had the support of the fucking machine that was Barca for the few years, where they would just were a machine, like a one fucking club machine. Like, of which he just finished off one of the goals.
Mm-hmm.
History will remember that Messi was incredible, but I think that they'll probably also remember that Mbappe was very, very fucking good. Like,
Aye.
Oh, aye, he's definitely very, very good.
Aye.
Unless he moves somewhere else, then he's not going to get the world class.
Aye, I think that's
think,
true.
For me, anyway.
I think Haaland and Ronaldo is not a terrible comparison. I don't think you can compare him to Messi or Mbappe or a whole host of other folk. So it's no direct comparison, obviously, because Haaland's very much a striker. Ronaldo obviously started more as a winger. You know what I mean? So
He kind of changed his game as he got older.
Aye.
Like,
but what I mean to say in terms of comparing them is looking at the countries they're from and where the national teams are. Because I think if Haaland stays fit enough for long enough, and the coaching staff at Norway are willing to put in the work to develop the team round about him, similar to how Portugal was kind of developed to work with Ronaldo as their de facto sort of leader and goal scorer. Like, in many ways, there could come a time where Norway's an absolute force.
I mean, this is it. He becomes an example, Mick. Like, he becomes the goal to drive towards for younger players. Like, Portugal are filled now with exciting young attacking players, and that's because they see the superhero playing for Man United and for Real Madrid and fucking playing amazing. Like, it sets a standard in the country as far as football goes, potentially.
Oh, aye. For sure. Aye.
Wish it would have happened with us when we had Kenny Dalglish and that. Like,
well, I was going to say, like,
fucking hell, what happened to us?
Drinking
in the streets has killed this cold, wee, rainy country, hasn't it, man? Like, too many boys have been lost in the streets. Drinking Mad Dog and winching wee birds. Dane keepy up with an empty can of beer. Oh, how good my boss skills are, lads. Like, we could have
I remember Ali McCoy saying that the problem was that there wasn't enough folk out in the streets playing football anymore.
I mean, I kind of get that too. I kind of get what he's meaning, like, because obviously there was a lot of kind of playing football way back in the day when Scotland were a lot better team, like when there was 3 or 4 Scotsmen in every big English team, like, and that's something obviously in Brazil. Like, these boys see football as a way to move their lives forward, like, whereas in a country like such as what we are, even though it's a lot of shite the new politics, blah blah blah, we're still pretty comfy in warm houses. We run in water and we're clean and so on and so forth. And I'm not saying Brazil's unclean. That is not what I mean. However, it's a more impoverished country than where we come from, and there aren't the opportunities to just live all right. Like, it's not quite as simple as that. There's a massive divide between the very rich and the utterly fucking skint, like, to the point of poverty, where sport is something that these boys and girls see as a way to really make their life a lot better. I mean, look at the boy for the UFC, lads, like Oliveira, like, living in the favelas. Like, fucking grinds his way. Like, would he be like that if he was from England? Probably no. Like,
probably
he'd be working in a factory somewhere.
Jesus was on the street, wasn't he?
Aye, exactly.
I think he's just before he get picked up, like, not even that long ago. Like, he was like fucking cleaning stuff on the cleaning sidewalks and picking stuff up.
It's something you find below these South American boys. Luis Suarez for a totally wee nothing kind of bat in Uruguay, nothing to his bloody name. Alfredo Morelos at bloody Rangers, like, lived in a knackered wee village with nothing, and now he basically runs schools in Colombia through his wages. And I mean, that's a boy that's not even a world class player. Like, it definitely puts a fire in the belly of these boys. Like, that's why they obviously want it so much more. Like, and I think in Scotland you don't really have that, and in England, obviously, just England have a monster sized population and a lot of money into sports in England.
I was going to say, the population, obviously, bigger population, better chance of producing better athletes, but the money that's pumped in the England,
like Premier League,
not,
historical expectation of we're a world superpower in sports and in football.
Yeah,
like that kind of stuff obviously brings about the kind of the expectation sort of thing. I feel I've meandered way off message here, have I? Or am I still on message? I just went away in one there. I just zoomed into the future. I zoomed away from what I was trying to say.
You've actually went in a full circle, to be honest with you.
Aye, thank you. Somebody rudded me in quick.
We started out in the Euro group talk.
Aye.
And how Scotland was up against it. And you've just sort of lamented why. Because there's no enough fatba on the streets.
Thank God. It's all about the streets, boys.
It's all about streets.
I was spinning away out into the tangent world there. I'm glad you pulled me back. Max lassoed me and made me realise that I was making halfway a point at some point. However much there is there, I'll leave the audience to decide. Oh, Christ.
Is there anything else been happening out with Formula 1 and football?
Is there?
No.
Women's World Cup and rugby's coming up.
It's
happening. Aye, of course, England battered somebody, I think, but then England battered everybody in the women's rugby. I think, don't they?
Aye, they're
pretty much. They're pretty good.
They're at the very tippy top of rugby international struggling when it comes down to it.
I think it's a formality that they're going to win this. Apparently,
I can't remember what the score was, but they severely pumped the team.
You're talking 10-try victory, wasn't it?
Fiji.
Was it Fiji that took the doing?
I thought it was one of the islands.
84-19.
Oh, Jesus, that's a blasting.
Yep.
Speaking of women's sport, actually, kind of take it back to not quite Formula 1, but motorsport. I saw the day it was announced that the W Series, so the top flight and sort of single seaters for the women, so the equivalent of the Formula 1 essentially, they have announced that they've cancelled their final 3 GPs of the season.
Oh, for Christ's sake,
because of
money to begin with.
Because of lack of funding, they've decided to cancel them, finish the season early, and focus on fundraising for next year to ensure that they've got a full season.
So
next
they
year.
actually get. That's so shit.
It's brutal, man.
What a disappointment. But I feel sorry for that lassie that was dominating it. Like what was under? She raced for Jenner Racing. Oh, what was her name?
She's won 3 times in a row now because that's her one this season. I can't remember her name. I read it the other day.
Jamie Chadwick.
Jamie Chadwick. Aye, that's the one. Aye, I feel for her, man, because she's obviously streets ahead, man, and now doesn't really get the recognition. I mean, it's a bit of a hollow victory to say you've won a shortened season. What a shame. It's a fundraising for next year. I mean, you would have thought the funding would have been, man. You'd have thought the funding was there.
I feel like they should be partnered with Formula 1, man.
Why are they not?
There should be a trickle-down effect. Like for everything Formula 1 makes, a certain amount should go to the W Series.
Why are they not affiliated to F1? I mean, that for me, that would be the no-brainer there. They affiliate the junior programme, like F2, F3, so on and so forth. So why are women excluded in that sense? Like, it's a bit archaic to me, lads. Like, you see the difference it's making in women's football now with the kind of female affiliated teams. Like the standard of women's football is definitely growing through this kind of help. And I mean, especially, look at it in England. Like you're actually getting crowds now watching women's football. 10 years ago, that didn't exist. Like it was 100 folk watching a top division women's game. Bloody, you've got Emirates Stadium sold out for the North London Derby.
You've got a large number of professional female players now.
Exactly. Making a living.
Previously, they were all effectively amateurs.
Oh, they're all personal trainers, leisure centre attendants, like lassies who were having to work and then train maybe once or twice a week. Like they're actually getting to be good at their craft. Like, and it should continue as far as I'm concerned. Like, I mean, I noticed it even with it was the Wales game where Wales were playing in the playoff against Bosnia. Something like nearly 20,000 in the Cardiff City Stadium. Like, that's incredible for a wee country like Wales. I mean, we're a wee country as well. 10,000 in Hampden for the Austria game last week.
Right.
Like, there is an appetite. There is definitely an appetite for women's football, like for people to want to watch it.
Yep.
And affiliating with male counterparts definitely seems to be the way ahead. You'd think in F1 when they're all good at talking about how they want women to be drivers, like they would actually put their money where their mouth is and actually tie it in.
I would actually be interested to see what the logistics would look like to have, like when the Formula One goes to a location, they'll have the F2 race. Does the F3 tour with them as well? It's just F2 and F1 that tour.
I know F2 day certainly. I don't know
It's just
exactly.
F2. It's just I think F3 does. Is it F3 and whatever day the rain hang? Oh, anyway, whatever it is.
Right.
So some of the juniors basically are on the same circuits. So I wonder what the logistics would be like to have the W Series be there as well, effectively.
Aye. Like it. Surely it would be a good thing as far as inclusion goes. Like, is that going too far with inclusion just for the sake of inclusion? I don't know, but surely it raises the standards for them to be around like other teams. Like, surely there's going to be something to that.
They're not going to do it unless they see a reason to do it, like the financial side. They'll not do it unless there's a financial side to it.
Well, that's
losing
the
money.
downside,
They'll not do it.
Aye.
Which, that's just the reality of it.
Aye. At the end of the day, unfortunately, money's a big thing with it. Like,
It's a chicken and egg scenario, I reckon. Because I think if they were fully paired with F1 and they were going to all the same circuits, then I reckon the ticket sales would boom. But you're not going to be able to show that is going to happen without doing it. So,
you need to take the leap first.
Aye.
The old paradox, as it were.
Aye. That's just the reality.
Aye. That is.
We need to find a couple of billionaires with some lassies that want to race.
Aye.
You know what I mean? So we need some like female Latifis and Strolls. So they can
I'm sorry, girls.
But they're saying that. Oh, sorry, I'm just reading something, but
don't mind us.
Sorry.
So like the article I'm reading about the W Series, and they're saying that Bon Muir is grateful for the support that FIA, Formula One, and other partners have shown. To
right, so there was a tie-in.
So I guess they were partnered with them, but they're responsible for the rain funding.
That seems a bit
running the rain show, which
that's messed up, man.
And is that not the same as like that would not be this? That would be the same as like the lassies teams. They'll be a part of the not part of the male team, but they'll be the Arsenal women. But they'll have the rain funding, the rain sponsors and etc. So they're a kind of a different entity than the male team, but they're just under the same name. But then they're responsible for the rain.
And that's the way it used to be in women's football. Although the women's teams are now part of the men's team,
directors and all the rest of it.
I know with the elite level of football in England, all the women's teams are now part of the men's team, so they'll use the training facilities that the men use and all that. Like it's their budget is included in the full male club. Like they're part of it. So
I would imagine like the FIA will they'll have endorsed the W Series, but they'll not be financially, or you know what I mean, there might be like some sort of financial backing there, like to a degree, but it'll be a case of like, we'll give you our name, you know what I mean? You can use your badge, but go and find your own telly deal and get your own sponsors.
It definitely seems to be the case, like issues with sponsorships for drivers and all that. Like, it seems to have been a kind of all season long sort of issue, sadly. Interesting headline from ESPN.com, the article by Hazel Southwell. Motorsport can afford to support W Series and women drivers. It's choosing not to.
Ooh.
Which kind of details the kind of the issues that's been faced by the W Series from the get-go, effectively.
Interesting.
The lack of funding kind of issues.
Well, I dare say that there's a lot more to get into with that than what we've got time for the day.
Aye. Yeah, evidently, my friend.
So, does anybody have any final thoughts before we sum things up?
I'm all out of thoughts, friend.
DC says he might have a crack at WWE.
That should be fun.
Well, Cormier.
DC as in Daniel Cormier as opposed to David Coulthard.
Daniel.
Bit old and a bit knackered for it, to be fair.
Big Davey with his big chin. Right.
That's the finishing move, the headbutt. Certainly Cormier's working in what, fake knees, isn't he? I'm sure. I don't know if that's the best shout for him. Does he not get knackered knees, am I right in saying? Oh no, it's Bisping, I'm thinking. Bisping's got the knee replacements, isn't it? I'm thinking, sorry. My mistake.
Daniel Cormier, I think's had knee and back issues, but I don't know if he's had any operations or like
no actual operations
to that degree anyway.
Right.
I don't know what they would do with him.
Nothing.
No, I mean his
wee celeb appearance is fine, I think.
He's one of the guys that he would be like a Ronda Rousey in my mind. Like he's legit, yes. He's a big fan of WWE, yes. He would be athletic enough to hang with him, yes. But does he look the part? No.
No.
Is he likely to ever be a good enough worker to properly hang in terms of the in-ring stuff? No. He would be relying purely on athleticism.
He's a small guy compared to a lot of WWE wrestlers. Like, wouldn't he? I mean, he's a chunky fella, but he's no 6'6". Like, which is a heavyweight, as even with the current management in WWE. Heavyweights need to be big, huge, superhero-looking guys, man. Guys they can show in a picture. The airport effect, as it were, as Vince McMahon used to call it.
Yeah.
They've got to be big enough for folk to double take in an airport and say, holy shit, what the hell's that? Like, or the way Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin or The Rock, like, guys that you think, fucking hell, that is a giant of a man. Like, I can understand in a what combat sport such as WWE why that's a big thing, though. They've got to look the part.
Right. I think at this point we shall love yous and leave yous, ladies and gentlemen.
Check out Well, the Getting's Good.
Yes, indeed. I'm not quite sure what order things are going to be in this week. So either yesterday or tomorrow, depending on when this goes out.
You just
will
don't
have
know.
AEW Mash.
The return.
Check it out. The return of AEW Mash, yes. So, up in Mick, they've been Harvey and Paul. This has been the Aftermash. If we're the same, goodbye.
Adios, amigos.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.